flatten, smooth, and thin this slab down using an electric planer. Whoa, it's heavy. I'm going to be using this electric planer, and I'm going to be aiming for the high spots and flipping it over as I get it flatter and thinner. Making and setting up a sled for a router takes time on the front side, but it makes up for it in the end because you can cut more and check less. Take a piece of chalk and mark the areas that are touching the table right now. So I'm going to be taking off this section and this section first. One thing about these planers is they make a lot of chips. So many that I plugged up my vacuum line here. There it goes. I can also tell that there's a high spot in the middle here. Take that down a little bit, then I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to have to flip it over and over and over. I just cut this thing freehand with my chainsaw, and it's got some really big warp to it. So yeah, I can just put my whole hand under here. Taking these areas off on these two sides, avoiding that area obviously because that's my thinnest spot. And then it'll just blend in, and I'll just kind of keep an eye on it, get it pretty darn flat. It is fun to see the results of critical observation and hard work slowly form the slab into a usable surface. So I'm putting together this video, and I'm trying to remember why I went with the hand planer as opposed to the router with an end bit like this that you see everybody do. You set it up in a sled, you flatten the thing with some wedges, and then you just run it back and forth, and you don't have to check it all the time. And I'm like, why did I do this? And I remember the reason why is because of chips, and I couldn't figure out a way to collect the chips off of this thing. It's got two open ports on the sides, and they're just gonna go all over the place. It was really cold and windy outside, so I didn't really feel like being outside, just letting the chips go wherever. So I cut a pickup from the shop vac, and it fits on this goofy thing right here. Why they couldn't design this so you could put something on there, I'm not exactly sure. And I duct taped it on there, and then I could use my pickup. That way I could run this to my big dust collector outside and not have to worry about as many chips in my studio. That was the decision, for better or worse. Another advantage of a router is the speed and ease of changing a bit versus changing the cutting knives on a planer. This process is very time consuming, and it takes a lot of precision to get it in there right. You gotta use the gauge and line everything up just so, otherwise it doesn't work right. Once I have the twists and bumps out, I alternate 45-degree passes as well as long passes with the grain, being very mindful of keeping the thickness even from end to end and side to side. A router in a sled does this automatically, and I wouldn't even need to think about it. All right, so I've got it flat and it's even. Now you can click right here and see how I take that slab and make it into a sit to stand desk.